would say that my first memories of church was when I was a young man and I started attending Clifton Baptist Church here in Garden City. Reverend Sweet was our pastor at the time. But it was a revelation, so to speak, where I came to the realization that Christ played a great part in my life, and it was important to me to serve the Lord.
Oh, I was very, very young when I started coming to Clifton Baptist Church. Ever since I was conceived,
Okay.
my mother, Mrs. Eloise Johnson, I had a brother because it was just two of us, and he has now transitioned to be with the Lord, just like my mother. She has also transitioned. But we both were coming, and in 1963, as I can recall, I was baptized here.
Okay. And I was baptized at Garden Temple at the age of, I can't remember the age, but I remember the church was Garden Temple in 1948. I was baptized over there. And then I spent most of my religious going to and from the church out there at Clifton Baptist. Because
I was born August 23rd, 1941, and I was coming to Clifton ever since I was a little girl. I can remember the well. I can remember when we had the wood heater, when the mans would have to cut the wood and we had to tote it in. I can remember sitting by, everybody was worried about sitting by the heater on Sundays so that they could stay warm. I can remember getting down and washing, scrubbing that with that scrub brush, scrubbing that wooden floor.
Hello, I'm Angela Russell Johnson, and I have been a member of this church for 67 years. My experience with this church, my parents divorced when I was very young, so I spent part of my year with my mother, and every summer I would come to live with my father on Gordon Road, which is now Grange Road in Port Wentworth. And that's where my journey at Clifton Baptist Church began.
My earliest memory is me and Angela, Dolores, and us on the usher boat. Those are the times. That was in the early days, and those was enjoyable time. And as time went on, we advanced from the usher boat and come up to other activity in the church, but it was the mother boat came up, and we enjoyed the mother boat. When Mother Nancy spoke, they listened. And I bless the Lord for the time at Clifton and my folks at Clifton. And the most important thing is the Word. I can get the Word, and thank God I got the Bible on tape. Vision is bad now, but the Bible on tape, and me, the Lord and I got this. And I'm content, I'm satisfied, and I'm at peace.
Growing up in Clifton, my mother's side of the family was a member of Clifton, and her mother and father was a member of Clifton. And when I joined Clifton, I was 12 years old, and now I'm 85. And my grandfather, on my daddy's side, my grandfather, which is my daddy's daddy, they was a member of Clifton. And their family was a member of Clifton. But now I tell you how old it was, I don't know. But Clifton and Fallon was like a family church.
When I first got really into participating in the church, I was around 15, 16 years old, and that's where we were. And then after I got married, I went to New York, and now I'm back down here in Savannah after 50 years in New York City. And I came back and I made Clifton my home church. And that's where we are. I brought the family back, who is Helen Wallace, which is my wife. And she was a member here at all during this time. She grew up in Clifton, along with Mother Milton and Deacon Russell and all of them. They're all relatives and whatnot. I'm not a relative. I'm an interloper into the family. But I'm a family member now.
Oh, we're here with Mother Walker, and she's going to describe her experiences at Clifton Baptist Church. Mother Walker, I had asked you these questions earlier. If you can just reiterate on them again for me. Okay, describe the church buildings when you were first attended the church, and how have they changed?
Oh, it has changed. When I was coming, they had the pot stove, the heat by coals, and it rang the doorbell for church to open. Somebody died, they rang the doorbell. The church bell. Baptized. When I was baptized, you had a spiritual mother. You had to go to her first, and then after you go to her, then they recommend you to deacon to be baptized. And women had to always wear a hat, and men couldn't come into the church unless they had on a tie and a coat. And we had Bible study. Church would start at 11:30. We had Bible study Thursday night and Tuesday night prayer service. And we had Sunday school every Sunday. We had the church anniversary once a year. We had deacon anniversary, choir anniversary, and church anniversary.
Now, Mother, you said that you had prayer service on Tuesday nights, and on Thursday nights you had Bible study.
Right.
Okay, so what did you do during prayer service?
During the prayer service, we would pray. We had anybody that be here who wanted to pray.
Was it any particular prayer or
No,
just?
every individual that was here that wanted, they would pray.
No matter what? No matter what was going on?
No matter what position, you can pray.
We went to church. First of all, my ancestors, Aberdeen and Janie Jackson Russell, raised their family there on Gordon Road. They built a house there, and in that house there was one room dedicated for prayer. And all of the members that lived in the garden, on Garden Road, and in what was then the sugar refinery, and those areas would come and gather in that prayer meeting hall on Tuesdays and Thursdays and early Sunday mornings for prayer meeting.
Are there any other, I know that you're the chairman of the deacon board now, are there any other past chairmans or past leaders that you can recall that memorable events or that again made an impact on you?
Yes, I would look at some of the deacons that we've had over the years. Deacon Shad Wilson, I was a young man then when he was a deacon. Willie Winters, who I emulated at times, who really helped me, kind of steered me to be the man that I am now by just allowing me to take a more active role in the church. Before I was a deacon, he would be the one who would call me up to help with offering, you know. And it's through participation that you grow. And you don't know how the Lord can use you unless you allow him to use you and take that step and just be more visible. And once you are visible and the Lord see that you are thirsty for more knowledge, he will elevate you and use you in different ways, for not for your glory, but for his glory.
And then we had a little later some of the members that sang in the senior choir, they joined the gospel chorus. But members that joined later, they became those that wanted to become a part of the gospel chorus. They did. And the gospel chorus was our traveling chorus. We were the chorus that went out to the various anniversaries. Who was that? While in the senior choir, Brother Manigo was our pianist. He could sing. Yes, he could sing. And then later, we got like Julia Kane. She was the gospel chorus first organist, and she was very young. She was about 10 or 11, and at the time I was driving, so I would either pick her up and back and forth to bring to choir rehearsal. Patricia Stanton, who was one of our lead singers in the gospel chorus that have now transitioned, she would either pick her up as well.
How many people would you say was in the...
man that played with us now, he played for us too.
Not during my earlier years. Not during my earlier years, when the choir was first organized. Yeah.
Who was the pastor when you...
Reverend Robert Sweets. And he was just as sweet as his name.
Is that right?
Oh, yes. And he was not a long-winded pastor. He said what he needed to say from his words. And even our pastor, Pastor Craig Daughtry, he is not a long-winded pastor. He tells us what thus says the Lord and keep it moving. But these pastors, really, God sent.
Anything memorable that he did, or?
Pastor Sweet? Oh yeah. Pastor Sweet was a jewel. And he had such a sweet spirit about him. He had a very sweet spirit, and he knew how to talk to you. And that was the best part of Reverend Sweet. He brought the word, but when he had to talk to you had to talk to him. He was so nice about it, and that makes a difference. Yeah, it does. And his wife, she was very elegant.
Okay.
Yes, she was, Sister Sweet.
You recall the pastors and anything significant about the pastors that you've served under or served as leaders?
But since I've been a member at Clifton, I think I've probably served under at least 5 or 6 different ministers, and everyone was unique in its own way, but some stood out more than others. I guess Pastor Sweet stood out because he was a man of maturity in the sense that he was an elder and he spoke with a lot of wisdom, but we also had ministers like Reverend Stanley. We referred to him as the weeping pastor because he would get up in the pulpit and he found it hard to contain himself at times. And we had Pastor Luckett, he was a good leader, but he had his own agenda in the sense that I won't say he had his own agenda, but the Lord put people in certain places for a season, and we realized that any pastor that we may have don't come with no guarantee that he's there for life. So we got to be mindful that the Lord uses ministers in different stages of different stages in their ministry, that you want them to be at different places doing different things at different times.
That's great. And so you had, how many members from your family went to Fairlawn and how many went to Clifton?
It was 8 of us, so we didn't have but Oliver, Dorothy, and myself. We went to Clifton.
Okay.
The other 5 went to Fairlawn.
Okay. And you're mentioning your brother Oliver, that's Deacon Cooper. Tell us a little bit about him.
He was everything. He was just everything to everybody. I don't know, for some reason, he was just so special because he had all the patience in the world. And he wasn't too busy for nobody. It's a funny thing about Oliver. I don't know how we got along so well, but he was the special one to us. He was more like a father than a brother.
And he was the the oldest boy?
He was the oldest boy.
Okay.
Yeah. The 8 of us. Oliver was the oldest boy, and Louise was the oldest girl. And I am the 3rd of the family. Dorothy was next to Louise.
Okay.
I would come every summer, would be active in all of the spiritual experiences that was just a part of that family. And here on Sunday in Clifton Baptist Church for worship service, Sunday school, morning worship service, and then we would have evening services as well. Vacation Bible School, and we used to have revival every year. And that is when all of the young people who were not a member of the church would always have to come up to the mourner's bench. And as a result of that, you would be, at some point, you would decide that it was your turn to become a part of this great church. Then the journey began with praying. For most people, it would be very antiquated or old the way we did it, because it was, you gave everything. You denied yourself. You basically slept on the floor. All of the modern conveniences that you would ordinarily experience, you would sacrifice those for this period. You were, at some point through your dreams and visions and that experience, you would be assigned a spiritual father or a spiritual leader. My spiritual leader was my uncle, Sandy Russell. And when you would dream, you would go to him and he would interpret those dreams, and they will determine based on your journey doing that experience when you had completed praying. And I vividly remember my last dream. I slept on the floor in the hall, and I had gone to sleep, and I had this beautiful dream. I saw this beautiful, I cannot express to you how vibrant the glow was that was around in that room, and this long elongated angel that was over my head, and it was so beautiful, and I jumped up, and when I jumped up, it was no longer there, and I ran to tell my grandmother what that dream was. She said, "You're finished. You go to Uncle Sandy and tell Uncle Sandy." And there'd been a whole series of dreams, but I don't remember them now. It's been so long. But I have never forgotten that beautiful angel that stood over my head that particular morning. And then I was baptized, and what was so beautiful about the baptismal ceremonies is that time that we had this pool that was on the side of our church. And it's not just getting in the pool and just singing the song and you are immersed in the water. It was a whole ceremony where they read scriptures. The crowd would march out of the church to the pool, and you would sing "Take Me to the Water." The pastor would baptize you, and then you would get up, and everybody would come up out of that pool. You'd be dressed in these beautiful white garments, and it was such a celebratory service on those Sundays, and that has stuck out in my mind and my memory for all of those years.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned earlier Sister Havisham.
Mother Emma Havisham.
Yeah.
That was my spiritual mother.
Oh, okay.
That was my spiritual mother.
Okay.
Yeah. When I went to her, and she told me after a while, she said that I was through. And I came home to my mom and told her I was crying. I said, "I'm not through because I don't feel nothing."
Mm-hmm.
So Mother Emma followed me home and told my mama I was a hard believer. I was going to be like Thomas because I was doubt so much.
Mm-hmm.
But on that Tuesday morning, I didn't have no doubt. I didn't have no doubt. Sitting on the front porch with all them mosquitoes, and that tree caught on fire. That big old oak tree is still there. And I didn't see Jesus, but I see the image of him. And the feeling I got, I went to Mother Emma and told her I was through. Mm-hmm. And I was on fire. And I remember Sister Rose Walker said, "It don't, I always let what I feel, I let it go, especially when it's the Spirit of the Lord." And she said, "Nancy, you need to stand. It don't take all of that." But she don't know what I know.
Right.
Yes. And that Tuesday morning, it was finished. And from then on, I had no doubt.
And you were sitting on the porch?
I was sitting on the mama's screen post over there, and cover up with that blanket. And I looked, and that big old oak tree is still there. And that oak tree was on fire. It was an image in the flame of that oak tree. But I didn't see, I ain't gonna tell nobody I see Jesus. All I see was an image in that oak tree. And when that oak tree was on fire and that image was there, I caught on fire. And I was on fire ever since.
Ever since.
Ever since. Yes, sir. Oh, and I just bless the Lord for what he have done for me. And I can't wait to meet him. I can't.
You know, we used to have, like we have Women's Day. We always had the special table. We used to have Secret Pal. And Miss Dorothy Peters used to go to the bank and get them clean $100 bill. And when you see a $100 bill in your card, that was so exciting to me. Oh, sing them. You could look for them dollar bills in your envelope at Secret Pals.
Oh, okay.
You didn't never know who your Secret Pal was going to be until the end of the year.
Now she would give you $100?
I mean, dollar bills.
Oh, okay, dollar bills. Okay, fresh, crisp dollar bills.
Yeah, she didn't give you no old money. It always had to be clean.
Okay. How about Harvest Day? You remember the Harvest Day in California?
Harvest Day was my month of March.
Okay.
And we we always, had our table. We decorated for the month, you know. And March was my month.
That was what, calendar tea?
That was a
Calendar tea.
It wasn't a whole lot I could do for March, but it was St. Patrick's Day, so the green was good. Because you could do all kinds of stuff in green. So.
And those were fundraisers too.
Yeah, those fundraisers, and everybody was trying to outbeat each other.
Okay.
But Sister Gamble and my mother, them was gonna be the top people. Yeah.
I was fortunate enough that I had the opportunity to go to the Baptist conventions, and I went to numerous Baptist conventions with the honor of representing Clifton Baptist. I could name places. I went all through Florida. I went to Detroit. I went to California. I went to Kansas City. I went to, you name it, Tennessee, Georgia. I went to all these Southern Baptists. And they taught you what Southern Baptists stand for and what they did. And I believed in them. But, to be honest with you, they have gotten away from some of the tradition of Southern Baptists, in which I would pray that they would adopt some of those ideas again.
What are some special events that Clifton had that you remember?
Oh man, we used to go to Six Flags. We went to Carowin. We had different little cookout at the parks. We had garage sales at the church parking lot. Anniversary time, we was trying to go all out for anniversary. I remember the years when I did it outside. I remember the time when we just had tents up everywhere. We could put up a tent. So really, for as pastor, I had like every pastor we had. Everybody got four, but I like everyone we had.
Church was just a little different because Full Sunday was just like you were going to a big celebration. The church would be packed. Even before we had air conditioning, the windows would be open in the summertime. You would be sitting there with the fans. But everybody would be there, would be dressed in beautiful attire. And I would enjoy watching the older ladies because it looked like they would compete with each other to see who was the best dressed on these Sundays. And it was just a joy to see how they did the sweet communion and the fellowship among the people that were there. And in the wintertime, it was this pot-belly stove that stood in the middle of the floor on the right-hand side of the church, and you would have to sit in church in your overcoats, and everybody would rush to be the first to get close to that heater so that you could be warm. But the services would be so spiritual that you didn't even think about the cold in the church. You just was involved in what was going on in those services during that time. And as a little girl, there's one sermon that was preaching. I can't even remember the name of the pastor. But every time I would hear him preach that sermon, he would scare the life out of me. Because he would do the sermon on brimstone and fire. And he would talk about what hell would be like. And that you would be, you would spend the rest of your life there, and there would be this big wheel in the middle of the wheel. And you would get so hot, and you would say, Lord, how long, how long? And the devil would always say, your damnation just begun. And it would frighten me. I said, Lord, that's not a place that I would want to go if my damnation will never be over. And so, but as a child, it was frightening to me because if I weren't right with God, that was enough to make me want to get right with God. But the fellowship and the sweet communion of this church is my most vivid memories we were always family. And you looked out for each other. It was always celebratory here. We had women, I remember we had the women auxiliary. We would have everybody's birthday parties. We would, the Black History programs where we would just remind our children from whence they came. We are cultivating a whole new church, but we're trying to savor some of those intrinsic things that have made us who we are today. And that's what I see. Even the young people that's coming in now, they seem to be blending in with the culture that has always existed here. And that's what I love about Clifton. You know, it's like your family. It will always be that way. Because even although most of the children of my generation are not here, but this is still their church. When they come home, this is where they are in Clifton Baptist Church, because they can remember how they were nurtured. Although we weren't here, my children tell me now about the times that they would come here and people just slip money in their hands, and I still see that going on. We just take care of each other.
One thing that really stands out about Clifton, I won't say other churches might offer the same type of love. I don't know, because I don't attend those churches. But I know if you're looking for love, Clifton is the place. If you're looking for people to take you by the hand, lead you and guide you into the knowledge of God, Clifton is the place. You couldn't find, I don't think you could go no place in Savannah or any place in the United States that you could find a congregation that's more loving than Clifton Baptist Church, Garden City, Georgia. And the worship services, you can just feel the spirit on Sunday mornings. Like they say, I was glad when they said unto us, let's come into the house of the Lord. It seemed like they'd be waiting for the doors to open to the church. And they come in on Sunday morning praising the Lord, giving him glory, giving him honor, just giving him all the praise, just thanking him for life, thanking him for life being as well as it is. And it's a glow about the individuals in the church. You can feel the presence of the Lord on their lives and how it just radiates. And when the service on Sunday morning, when the pastor get up and start preaching the word of God, you can just feel the Spirit touching your spirit and just moving through you, and you just feel a need to praise Him.